Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Italian chapter of Sigma International Alpha Alpha Beta. I wish to thank the President of the ICN, Annette Kennedy, and the President of CNAI, the Italian member of ICN, Walter De Caro, for accepting this invitation. The Alpha Alpha Beta chapter has undertaken the mandate of Sigma International to promote the leadership of nurses in Italy. In today's interviews, we shall ask the two presidents to provide their authoritative comments to the WHO report on the state of the world nursing 2020. I shall now leave you to Dr. Gianluca Catania, Assistant Professor and Researcher at the University of Genova, and the board member of the Alpha Alpha Beta chapter, who will conduct and moderate the two interviews. Thank you for your precious time.
Thanks, Loredana, Professor Sasso. And okay, we are ready to start this webinar. Thank you, Dr. Kennedy and Dr. De Caro, for taking the time to speak to us today. We know both of you have a busy schedule, so thank you for taking the time to stay with us. And as you know, this is a tough year because of the COVID-19, and you know that this pandemic cast a shadow across the world and changed everything, every rules about healthcare systems and nurses. So today we would like to speak with both of you about the report of the WHO that is available to download to the WHO website. And so we have some questions for both of you. And I start with Annette Kennedy, that she is the president of ICN, as the Professor Sasso said. And the first question was that in relation to the WHO report about the state of the world nursing 2020, what do you think will be the main features of the development of nursing in Europe and in the world in the near future, also in the light of the changes brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic? Please, Annette Kennedy. You have to turn on your mic, I think. Okay, that's right.
Can you hear me? No?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry. Okay, dear colleagues in Italy, first of all, I wish to thank Professor Loredana Sasso, the president of Italy's Sigma chapter Alpha Alpha Beta, for the opportunity to speak to you today. I bring you greetings from the Nursing Association in 135 countries and over 27 million nurses. Sorry, I was hoping to, never mind. I'm delighted to speak to you about the World Health Organization State of the World's Nursing Report. Developments in nursing in the light of COVID-19 pandemic. I regret that I'm speaking to you virtually and not in person. I know my answers to your questions are being translated in Italian, so for this reason, I stay on script. I have been in Italy many times and traveled throughout your country widely. It's a country of great history, great culture, and very beautiful. I wish I could speak Italian. It sounds so musical and friendly. But just first of all, to put the year in perspective, this year, 2020, was designated by the World Health Organization as the year of the nurse and the midwife. And it followed much lobbying by ICN and Nursing Now at the World Health Assembly. We were so excited. We had many plans globally, regionally and nationally, to improve the profile of nurses. showcase your work, and celebrate the bicentenary of Florence Nightingale, a leader, a visionary, and a statistician who brought us into modern day nursing. But COVID-19 changed all that. It changed the way we live, work, deliver nursing care, and interact with patients and relatives. However, what it did do was show how indispensable and critical nurses are to healthcare, and that nothing can happen without nurses. This is understood by the global organizations like the World Health Organizations, and hence the state of the world's nursing is tantamount to this. It is important that we work together to call governments to account, to build a positive practice environment in order to recruit and retain nurses. But we have much work yet to do. ICN lobbied hard and encouraged the World Health Organization to produce the State of the World's Nursing Report. The recommendations, which are not only relevant to nurses in all countries, but essential to building a strong, resilient healthcare system that can provide health for all and also be prepared for pandemics and natural and man-made disasters. ICN co-chaired the report, and our network of associations from all over the world contributed a lot of data to that report. The State of the World's Nursing Report focused on three main issues that are central to the development of nursing in the coming years. And those same areas are central to the future response to the pandemic: education, leadership, and jobs. In short, we need more nurses who are better educated and better led. Currently, according to the report, we are 6 million nurses short. And although globally, the nursing workforce are relatively young, we have an older age structure in the American and European region. In terms of education, the report called for a massive investment in academic staff, the infrastructure, and the number of students in training to assess global needs, meet domestic demand, and respond to changing technology, an advanced model of integrated and social care. Nurses need to be supported to work to their full potential and need to be involved in the development of policy and strategy. Unless this happens, it will be difficult to see how universal healthcare can become a reality for everyone on the planet. Nursing leadership also needs to be strengthened, and ICN is helping directly with that in our two leadership programs, the Global Nursing Leadership Institute, the GNLI, and the Leadership for Change program, but also the Nursing Now Nightingale Challenge. The GNLI program takes up to 30 senior nurses every year, develops them to a level that they can influence policy at the very highest level of government. Many of our former scholars have gone on to become leaders of professional organizations and even chief nursing officers. We are now providing this program virtually and will be able to extend it to all regions. The Leadership for Change program is taught in country and prepares nurses for leadership skills that are required to implement organizational change and to improve nursing practice and achieve better health outcomes. ICN and the WHO have been in partnership with Nursing Now, and we are immensely proud of Nursing Now's Nightingale Challenge program. It has successfully encouraged governments, employers to develop their early career nurses, and I am pleased to say that more than 30,000 nurses are undertaking management training under this scheme. This new cadre of nurses has the potential to make a huge difference to the future of our profession and improve the care of the people we serve. ICN, as you know, has an official relationship with WHO that allows us to influence its policies. After years of lobbying by ICN, we were gratified to see the appointment of the World Health Organization's first Chief Nursing Officer, Elizabeth Ero, in 2018. We also lobbied for a chief nurse in the WHO European region, and this has been agreed by the World Health Organization Regional Director, Dr. Krug. ICN believes that every country should have its own Chief Nursing Officer to represent nurses and nursing at the top tables wherever healthcare policies are decided. Our most recent survey in ICN suggested that 70% of the countries have a Chief Nursing Officer, but in reality, the proportion that has a bona fide chief nurse is probably about 50%, those who are involved in national health policy. We are urging all governments to appoint a Chief Nursing Officer as soon as possible, so that all areas of governments, not just healthcare, can benefit from the input of nurses.
Thanks, Annette, for your issues that you put in evidence, because you said that globally there is a great shortage, 6 million nurses short, and in Italy at the moment the calculated shortage is about 50,000 nurses. So it's important to cover also a leadership in the healthcare system, and the programs that you highlighted is very crucial to be delivered in all regions. So we have the same question from the president of the CNI, Walter De Caro. Please, your microphone is for you.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Madam President Kennedy, for staying here with me. Thank you, Gianluca and Professoressa Sasso, that lead Alpha chapter, the only chapter of Sigma in Italy. About your question, Gianluca, I think that the year of nurses and midwives have been profoundly affected by this global pandemic, as obviously. We nurses and other healthcare professions stay in a situation of unprecedented pressure. We have a lot of, as you see, shortage of nurses. We have alarming staff stress. We have a lot of nurses that work beyond their physical and mental limits. In only so would we stay in a situation that is a real dramatic. Nurses' health and well-being are essential contribution to the quality of the care for people and communities. And without the well-being and health of the nurses, we don't have enough compassion, professionalism, and competencies. I think that government have to see the commitment and the compassion of nurses during this pandemic, and all government must be have to honor it, creating a healthy workplace. In Italy, we have about 50 nurses that lost their life for save life. We have 4 nurses that suicide. About the state of world of nursing, the report about, as said before Annette, I want to highlight other point. The first point is about data. The second point is about the involvement of nurse at policy level. The other is related to the job and salary. And the last is about association. About data, I think in Italy and in all countries, we have a serious problem of data, metrics, and digitalization. Also in Italy, we have a serious shortage of more than 50,000 nurses. But at the same time, we have a lot of nurses that we stay included as a registered nurse. But this nurse is not operative nurse. Is nurse that stay at the end of career or stay retired. We don't have a real situation about operative nurse. In the state of world of nursing, WHO said that we have more or less 350,000 nurses that work in Italy, but at the same time we have for more than 400,000 nurses in the register. At the same time, we have a problem of digitalization and a serious problem of data analysis. In the light of above, another problem is relative, and this is highlighting the state of world of nursing. The problem is the credential and revalidation. I think we have necessity of common ground for recognize some specialization like intensive care or community care in all Europe and worldwide. Another problem is the salary. Nurses should be better paid. In Italy, we have the low level of salary in Europe, and this is generated by 30 years, 40 years of disinvestment in health. Other real problem is the problem of involvement at ministerial level, in the task force, in other leading organization. In Italy, we don't have, until now, the position of chief nursing officer. We don't have a department of nursing at ministerial level, at the regional level. Same time, I think we have a problem at academic level, because in university, we have to develop a real autonomous area for nursing, like School of Nursing that stay in a lot of countries. In Italy, there are in some place medical dominance until now. The last point is related to, and this is a real point of State of World of Nursing report, about the presence of a nursing organization. I have to thank you to ICN, thank you to WHO for this report. Without ICN, we don't have this report, I think. Without Nursing Now, we don't have this report. I think that the international organization is compulsory. I have a crucial role for develop nursing worldwide. I think that the government have to follow the power, the visionary thing that said before Annette Kennedy. I think that the government have to follow really the association, and we have need of stronger association. We don't have need of stronger regulatory body. We have need of stronger association, freedom association, scientific association, and strong unions. I close this first question, and I think that we have to honor all of us, government before of all, have to honor the nurse that lost their life, creating healthy workplace that support, respect the work that they do every day. Thank you, Gianluca.
Thanks, Walter, for your reply to this question, because in some way you highlighted the weakness of the Italian system about nurses, and so the report probably will be updated regularly, I think, by the WHO and the ICN. So this is very important document that all of us should follow in the next years, also to be updated about the state of the nurse also in our country. But we have another question for both of you, and starting with Annette. And due to the COVID-19 emergency, Annette, safety protocols and rules have taken precedences of the humanization of care forbidding even the closest family members from entering hospital to comfort their loved ones. In your opinion, what are the old and new challenges for the humanization of nursing care? Thank you.
Thank you. And I am going to mention one thing in English, and I apologize, Walter, just a piece of good news. Today, I just see a tweet from President-elect Biden saying that nurses are underrated. And I think at least that's one piece of good news from a very big country. So we have to tweet him back. So sorry, I can't speak that in Italian, but we need all the help we can get from the leaders. So anyway, to answer your question, Annie, in March, ICN received a letter from an Italian nurse whom Walter knows, Floriana, who portrayed the difficulties for nurses working at the height of the pandemic. And I quote, and I've quoted it many times, "Our lives now engaged in hospital and COVID ICU and wards are like roller coaster rides, fatigue and anger, then sedated by the first successes on patients that you can finally transfer from the intensive care unit and who, despite the short time and those dresses that barely allow us to breathe, find time to talk and communicate with them and make them feel not alone. We are the only company they have, and it is impossible to smile with a mask, and we learn to talk and smile with our eyes. In this emergency, we're showing the professionals we are." So the separation of family members from their loved ones while they're gravely ill or dying in hospital was a necessary step, but it was a tragedy for each family concerned, and has so well been described by Floriana. It was the nurses, the professionals, who best represent the humanization of care, who stepped in to fill the void. Nurses provide highly technical and advanced care while providing intimate human contact with very sick people. And they were there to hold people's hand while they died. The age-old combination of head, heart, and hands is what makes nursing care so unique. Nurses use modern technology to keep people alive. They use iPads and other devices to ensure that people can at least see their loved ones and speak to them. New technology will be important in providing new models of care, which we have already seen in the form of telecare. It is difficult to predict the future, so the important thing is to be ready and not to be afraid of new technology, and to embrace it and absorb it into our daily work. Having said that, we must always remember that technology will never be able to replace the humanity and dignity the nurses provide to the people they care for. I have seen the best of humanity in the nursing care of patients during this pandemic, and it is and will always be the essence of nursing care. A poem written by a nurse in Ireland last week and broadcast on our radio also portrays that no rules or regulations will ever dehumanize nursing care. And I quote, "For 10 minutes I watched as your life disappeared. On a brightly colored screen, I fought back the tears. Before you slipped away, your family said goodbye. Only 10 minutes they had by your side. What do you say to a person you have loved all your life? 10 minutes to say goodbye to a husband or wife. Their gloved hands held yours and kisses through masks. What can I say? Why? I often ask. I do not know you, or you not I, a person so loved, so unfair to die. Holding your hand and stroking your face will bring gentle comfort, your breath to cease. That night you were gone, no family near to grieve, making cold phone calls, their pain so hard to ease. Regardless of when, why, how, or the source, the virus took over with little remorse. 10 minutes I watched, not as a stranger or a friend, but as a nurse who cared for you until the very end." I think that says all.
Thanks, Annette, because the Floriana's letter and this poem have give us the chance to gain insight the tragedy that is related to the COVID-19 pandemic. So thanks for sharing this letter and this poem with us, with all the Italian nurses. So the same question is for Walter. So please, what's your opinion about this topic?
Yeah. First of all, I want to say thanks to all Italian nurses, all nurses worldwide that every day work for the health of the other. About the humanization, I think that COVID-19 pandemic has remembered our society, the compassion, the courage, the competencies of nurse. The journey to humanize healthcare is crucial, especially now. The key of humanization, as we know, is a full understanding of psychological and physical needs of the patients, of the relatives, of the caregiver, but also we have to include the physical and psychological needs of nurses and other healthcare workers involved in the journey from illness to healing. I think that we have different aspects of dehumanization during this pandemic. The first aspect is isolation. Also, in this moment, I have only some symptoms. I stay isolated. And one of the real problem that I live is the fear to infect, to be contagious for my relative and my nurse colleague in my team. But and this is a real problem of this of COVID-19 disease. The other problem in the hospital is the real isolation, because we know, we stay with all healthcare workers that wear PPE, and we don't have the usual visual and communication relationship. Yes, we have the technology, we have something else, but the smile of nurse, the smile of physician, or the sympathetic, the word that we speak usually is not of this moment, and this is a very dramatic for all the patients in the hospital. Other things in Italy and in most of country is the lack of healthcare workers, the lack of nurses, the shortage of nurses, and at the same time the lack of beds or ventilators, more or less. Without ventilators, we don't have intensive care bed. And in Italy emerge, especially in the first wave, the selective healthcare, especially for the people of more than 60 years, and some in the country try to justify this choice in favor of youngest and healthiest people. I think that this thesis is barbaric, is real barbaric, and nurses have to work for move off from this model. I think we have to work for have enough resource in every country, in a Western country, but also in other countries. The last things is I return about the technology. I think that no technology can substitute integrally a nurse. And also we have remember where is the fundamental of our work. The fundamental of our work is our role is to take care to the patients, to comfort him or her, to and remember that the illness does not become the patient's, but only a transitory moment during the life. We have to work as a nurse. We have to show our compassion, and technology help, but we have to work for this. Thank you.
Thanks, Walter, for sharing this element that arise during the first wave, also are still present in the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. So another question, the last question for this webinar, and please, Annette, the WHO report talks about the need of strengthening the nursing profession in the world through a stronger leadership, internationally recognized, advanced education to face the challenges of the future, and more workforce and economic resources. Also, in the light of the changes generated by the COVID-19 emergency, how can Italian nurses interact with nurses from other countries to achieve these goals? Your mic is off. Okay. Oh, great. Now it's working.
First of all, I agree with everything that Walter has already said. You know, health is a human right, and health is a human right for nurses too, and that's what we tend to forget. The other thing I would like to say is that when Walter said about the guilt, that's something that I've heard over and over again from nurses all over the world, that the fear of taking the virus home to their family and friends has produced a huge guilt to them. And back to your question. Let me say that Italian nurses have done more than most to interact with others, particularly during this pandemic. And the generosity of my friend and colleague, Walter, and his colleagues in the Italian Nurses Association meant that nurses all around the world were able to learn from the experiences of the Italian nurses during the early stages of the pandemic, when things were really, really bad. This was extremely important to ICN, hearing from other countries to disseminate vital information to nurses around the world, despite the fact that the pandemic was at its peak in Italy. So we thank you, Walter, for all of that. The pandemic has shown the power and the importance of national nurses associations around the world. We have to work together. The mutual support that nurses are getting is so important. Our NNAs have stepped in to provide mental health support for nurses. They have shared good clinical practice. They have had a role in countries' response to the pandemic. And because they are trusted, they have conveyed vital information and vital messages to the people. Advanced practice is a big strategic direction for ICN. It is also there in the State of the World's Nursing Report. We produce guidance on advanced practice early in the year. This is ICN's guidance. And the truth is, the timing has come for nurses to work to their full extent of their education and training. Putting nurses in charge leads to better outcomes for patients. It is more efficient, it's more cost-effective than traditional care, and it is the future. There are many examples of nurses developing models of care to bring healthcare to those most in need. The homeless, those who cannot access or afford care, those in remote areas, those addicted, and the indigenous communities, because nurses know that the current models of care are not getting to those most in need. ICN continues to work with WHO on a global strategy for nursing and on the implementation of the State of the World's Nursing Report. And even at this World Health Assembly, we're talking about a nursing strategy. As nurses, we must seize the opportunity to work together and commit to a decade of action, seeking the empowerment of nurses, involvement in healthcare policy, capacity building, ensuring that countries are self-sufficient. That is so important. better conditions in employment and pay. We need that to retain nurses. The message must always be that an investment in nursing is an investment in a healthier society and consequently economic growth. It is never a cost, but the most effective investment. Finally, I would like to thank all the nurses in Italy for all their hard work and tell you that you're part of a great family of nurses, the big family of 27 million nurses. And I am proud to be a nurse, proud to be one of you, and proud of what the Italian nurses are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Thank you for your words, because it's a way to stimulate of the Italian nurses audience to read the report and to follow your suggestion, because it's crucial to increase the awareness of nurses about the leadership role that they should have in the healthcare system. So the same word. The last question is for Walter, please.
Thank you to Madam President Kennedy. I want to highlight the role of ICN in this COVID-19 global pandemic. ICN work a lot with national association, work a lot with us and with other countries that in the first wave have been affected more than others. Also, I want to highlight the role of ICN for with some documents for Minister of Health or some helps for have more PPE in during these months. At the same time, I think that is the role of association is crystal clear. We have a lot of relationship every day with some other groups from China, from UK, from Croatia, and other countries. I think that the association is crucial for fight together and better these challenges. About your question, I think that is time, like said before, Annette, that nurse have to boost, have to unlock their potential. Nurse have a role, essential role in realizing the vision for healthcare in Italy and worldwide. I think that leadership role and at APN role, advanced competencies and specialistic competencies is a key for this transformation. But I say at the same time, I think as we know during this pandemic, that we have to pay attention to the fundamentals of care. We have to return to the fundamental of care, and at the same time we have to develop a new scheme, a different scheme for education, and we have to pursue excellence in education at ground level, at undergraduate level, and at postgraduate level. Up to now, in Italy especially, the real involvement of nurse at political as well as at strategic level is not enough to change the situation. However, in my opinion, there is a need for a drastic change. It's crystal clear that during COVID-19, the political arena and the medical dominance oriented all decision, and it's a time that all the nurses in Italy have a place, have a seat, have a department to share their compassion, their expertise, and their competencies, and offer their vision for the future of health. I strongly believe in the role of Nurses Association, as said before. As CNAI, we stay developing a network in Italy of a specialistic association, a new network, for increase our role, increase our numbers, increase our power, and with the aim to work to create an alliance with regulatory body, with the academia and with the trade union, to develop a plan of action for the future of nursing in Italy. Italy is a different context from other country. Italy is a Mediterranean country, have a history, a culture of different from other Nordic country. At the same time, in my opinion, I think there are 3-4 main point. One of these main point is remove scope of practice barriers and permit at nurse at master level education to have a key role at community and in primary care setting. I think also is useful for us have some prescribing authorities. The other things is that we have established a new agreement from a regional level and national level. In this moment in Italy, we see a lot of confusion because at regional level, there are some decision making and some policy. At national level, there are other policy, and we have to work on this. I return, as said before, we have a stronger necessity of chief nursing officer at the ministerial level, at regional level. Every region have necessity of department of nursing. And the last thing that we have to prepare, and university have to help us, also ICN have to help us with GNLI and the leadership for change, for have more and more and more nurse to lead this change, to advance health with in leadership position. And the last, I only think that only with an alliance with regulators, association, and trade unions, with the help of international association, we can move this situation, and we can try to capitalize this moment. This is a moment for nurse, because nurse is crucial in COVID-19. We have to work for lead the change for the health for all. Thank you.
Thanks, Walter, and thanks, Annette. I think we are sure that all the Italian nurses appreciate your words, because you both said very important issues that can stimulate all the nurses. And I don't know if Professor Sasso is online, and also the Professor Bagnasco and Dr. Mirko Zannini, to say goodbye to you, and to say thanks for taking the time to spend 1 hour with us and with all the Italian nurses this afternoon. So thank you, and keep in touch with us with the Alpha Beta chapter to go forward with the nurse leadership also in our country. Thank you, Annette, and thank you, Walter, for your time with us.
It's a pleasure, and I am optimistic about the future. I'm very optimistic about the future. We can build by working together.
Thank you, Annette.
Thank you to you. Thank you, Professoressa Sasso, and all members of Alpha Beta chapter, the chapter of Sigma in Italy. Thank you, Madam President, for this opportunity to speak together and to learn together. I think that the nurse have the nursing win in the future.
Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Walter. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.